Praise be to Allah, the cherisher and sustainer of the worlds. I'm Dr. Ramsha Mushtaq Khan, and today I have the opportunity to present critical appraisal on scholarly evaluation of curricula and educational programs using a systematic approach to produce publishable scholarship under the kind supervision of Professor Dr. Saira Afzal. The content outline of today's presentation include title, abstract, learning objectives, definitions, best practice models, conceptual framework, measuring outcomes, tips for publishing curriculum or program evaluation, key points, checklist, and way forward. Title and abstract. Scholarly evaluation of curricula and educational programs using a systematic approach to produce publishable scholarship. This publication from Department of Pediatrics, University of California is a perspective. This is the abstract. The brief description. The goal of designing innovative curricula and programs in medical education is to create interventions that will change learners' attitudes, knowledge, skills, and behaviors to prepare them to contribute to the health of the patients and communities they serve. Systematic evaluation allows curriculum or program developers to optimize their curriculum or program and ensure that the goals of the curriculum or program are met. While curriculum or program evaluation is distinct from educational research, when approached in a rigorous manner, curriculum or program evaluation can be published as educational scholarship. This paper aims to equip readers with tools to apply a scholarly approach to curriculum or program evaluation to produce findings that will advance the field. Why? The overarching goal of designing curricula and programs in medical education is to develop or reinforce learners' attitude, knowledge, skills, and behaviors that contribute to the health of the patients and communities. At its core, evaluation informs the continuous improvement of programs and the curricula that are a part of these programs and provides evidence about whether goals are achieved. Although evaluation is often conflated with educational research, these activities have practical and theoretical distinctions. In research, researchers define specific aims to investigate an educational intervention by building on prior literature to fill gaps about what is already known regarding the effect of this type of intervention on teaching and learning. The researchers design their studies to create generalizable or transferable results that will be disseminated to a broad audience. Whereas in evaluation, evaluators look at the curriculum or at the program as a whole and pose practical questions often based on stakeholder input. They design evaluations to generate information that is locally useful in order to improve the curriculum or program and assess its quality. When undertaken systematically, evaluation can be published as scholarship and provide a resource for others to use or build upon in their own setting. Learning objectives. This paper describes how to systematically evaluate a curriculum or program using a scholarly approach and provide key considerations for how to publish evaluation work. Rather than addressing the evaluation of curriculum and program separately, for this paper, an approach that applies to both is illustrated, and therefore it uses the term curriculum/program. Most of the paper is devoted to describe how to plan an evaluation strategy to measure outcomes that demonstrate what was effective, the processes that uncover how the curriculum or program was effective, and the ways in which the underlying conceptual framework used in the design of the curriculum or program can help to explain why the curriculum or program was effective. The evidence-based practice content. While the use of conceptual frameworks and the quantitative and qualitative methodologies used to collect information for evaluation are also used in educational research, this paper particularly focuses on evaluation. It is concluded with information about what to include in each section of a manuscript to publish the findings of curriculum or program evaluation. What? So some basic definitions. Curriculum, it is a planned educational experience consisting of an integrated series of purposefully designed, sequenced, and evaluated learning activities centered on a subject. Curricula can vary in length and should be designed to meet defined goals and objectives for a specified level of learner. Educational program is typically larger in scale than a curriculum and consists of a set of structured activities and experiences aligned with a longer-term overarching educational goal. Several curricula may be components of a broader educational program. The distinction between curriculum and educational program to accomplish the goal of enhancing participants' teaching skills, curricula would focus on ensuring that faculty participants are adept at teaching learners in a classroom and in a clinical setting, assessing learners and giving feedback, while other curricula and activities within the educational program would focus on providing faculty with the knowledge, skills, and mentorship to produce educational scholarship. Evaluation refers to the systematic collection of data about the activities, characteristics, and outcomes of a curriculum or program used to determine its effectiveness and or inform decisions about the future development. And assessment refers to the collection of information to measure the performance of individuals and groups. Curricular evaluation versus the program evaluation. Although curriculum evaluation and program evaluation may use similar methodologies, program evaluation is more complex because a variety of components are being evaluated in addition to the curricular components of the program. So this is the example of elements of an evaluation plan for an educator development program, with the goal to develop and retain a cadre of excellent faculty educators and educational scholars, with the stakeholders are faculty participants, learners, chairs, institution, patients, and community. The program level outcomes include improvement of participants' teaching skills, scholarship and career advancements of program participants, and recruitment and retention of teaching faculty. So this figure illustrates how program level outcomes derive from the goal of the program and needs of the stakeholder. Referring to the example of an educator development program, the evaluation of the feedback curriculum would include an assessment of the participants' skills as described in the figure previously, and an evaluation of the quality of the teaching, the content, and the educational strategies used to deliver the curriculum. In contrast, evaluation of the educational program as a whole would involve measuring not only the feedback curriculum, but also determining if and how the curriculum and the activities designed to address the goals of advancing scholarly accomplishments and the retention of education tag for faculty were effective. Best practice models. Best practice models for rigorous curriculum or program development incorporate evaluation planning. Examples of best practice models include Kern's 6-step model for curriculum development and Logic model for educational program development. Best practice models versus conceptual frameworks. The use of best practices is distinguished from conceptual frameworks in the following way. The best practice methods provide a structure to systematically design or evaluate a curriculum or program, while the conceptual frameworks are theories that elucidate why and how learning happens as a result of an educational intervention. Beginning with the end in mind, a curriculum or program should always include an evaluation strategy, which, if planned from the beginning, simultaneous with the planning of the curriculum or program, would be aligned with its goal and ensure the collection of the data needed to evaluate the curriculum or program's effectiveness. A good evaluation strategy does not consider everything that could be measured, but rather what needs to be measured based on the goals of the curriculum or program and the needs of the stakeholders. Once the stakeholders' goals and needs are defined, outcomes can be delineated that will demonstrate that the goals and needs have been met. Once outcomes are defined, curriculum or program developers can decide what methods and tools will provide the information they need for the evaluation. While a well-designed evaluation strategy ensures that everything that one intends to measure is measured and analyzed, being able to capture unexpected outcomes, specifically those that occur early in implementation, can inform necessary changes to enhance the effectiveness of the curriculum or program. Measuring outcomes to demonstrate what was effective. The best practice models for curriculum or program design include evaluation as a critical stage in the planning process. However, some best practice models focus specifically on evaluation and provide a useful structure to systematically organize the collection of the outcome measures. So these are the examples of evaluation models. The first one is New World Kirkpatrick model, which seeks to measure curriculum or programs' contributions to learning, measuring outcomes at multiple levels. The components include reaction, learning, behavior, and results. Number second is context input process product, which views a curriculum or program as an open system that exists within diverse environments with multiple components and stakeholders that interact in complex ways. And it provides formative, proactive information to stakeholders during program development with evaluation of outcomes following evaluation of context, input, and process. Third one is utilization focused evaluation, which begins with the promise that evaluation should provide information that is useful and deeply practical to curriculum or program stakeholders, and it develops evaluation program that builds on values and needs of those who will use the information. The New World Kirkpatrick model is adapted from the traditional Kirkpatrick model, which is frequently cited as an approach to evaluate interventions in health sciences education. This model includes measures at multiple levels, including reaction, learning, behavior, and results. So this is the New World Kirkpatrick model. With level 1, reaction including participants' demographics, satisfaction, and engagement in the educational activity, and participants' perceptions about the relevance of what they have learned. Level 2 is learning, which incorporates measures of learning, that is, change in knowledge, skills, and attitudes of the participants, and measures of confidence and intent to use new knowledge or skills as evidence that participants will apply what they have learned in other settings in level 3. In level 3, behavior describes measures that indicate the transfer of learning from the educational activity to another environment. Further strengthening the connection between levels 2 and 3, process measures at level 3 document factors that facilitate and monitor the application of learning and that reinforce and encourage critical behavior change known as required drivers. Level 4, which is the results, which is measures how the educational activity and the resultant new behaviors of the participants contribute to the organizational goals. Level 4 is modified to broaden the scope of how one might think about the contribution of a curriculum or program to the organizational goals of an academic health center. So this figure shows the worksheet to plan curriculum or program evaluation, and it is adapted from New World Kirkpatrick 4 levels of training evaluation. Level 1 is reaction, level 2 is learning, level 3 is behavior, and level 4 is results. Best practice models. A scholarly approach to evaluation that includes evidence of multi-level outcomes, including long-term outcomes, is more likely to be disseminated as peer-reviewed scholarship. Measuring how outcomes were achieved. How questions explore important process measures to determine how outcomes were achieved, how were the components of the curriculum or program implemented, and did things go as planned. Strategies for collecting information for evaluation to answer how questions are consistent with strategies used to collect data for quality improvement and for research. The quantitative data is obtained by Likert scales, multiple choice questions, and performance measures such as the number of times a reading assignment was downloaded by participants in the feedback curriculum. And qualitative data is yielded by interviews, focus groups, and responses to open-ended questions. Questions about facilitators and barriers related to how a curriculum or program worked are also common. Addressing how questions improve the transferability of the curriculum or program and increase the likelihood that the work will be used as a platform upon which other educators can build. Measuring why a curriculum or program worked. Why question examine the underlying reasons and rationale for why the curriculum or program worked. Why did the behavior change and why were outcomes achieved or not achieved? Since the conceptual framework guides the selection of appropriate educational strategies to promote learning within a curriculum or program and the design of the evaluation, it can shed light on why the curriculum or program worked. The quantitative data is obtained similarly as in how questions by Likert scales, multiple choice questions, and performance measures, and qualitative data is obtained by interviews, focus groups, and responses to open-ended questions. The transferability of evaluation findings to a broader educational community sets the stage for the dissemination of these findings as scholarship. Now, the tips for publishing a curriculum or program evaluation. The first step is identify the target audience who may be interested in the curriculum or program will help to determine which journals to consider for potential submission. Scholarly evaluations of curriculum or program that describe not only what was effective, that is the outcomes, but also how it was effective, that is the facilitators and barriers, and why it was effective, contribution of the conceptual framework in the design of the curriculum or program, provide more comprehensive information about the quality of the curriculum or program, and so are more likely to be published. In the introduction section, the introduction of an evaluation manuscript should build a convincing case for why the curriculum or program is important, how the curriculum or program addresses an emerging need in the healthcare education and or fills an important gap in the literature. The introduction should explicitly describe the best practice model used to design the curriculum or program and the conceptual framework that inform the selection of the education and evaluation strategies used. The introduction should also explicitly state that the manuscript is a curriculum or program evaluation rather than an educational research, and clearly state the specific goals and objectives of the curriculum or program to allow the readers to see how the evaluation strategies aligns with the stated goals. The methodology should include the curriculum program and the educational setting should be described in sufficient detail so that the curriculum or program can be adopted or adapted to a different context. The methods used for the evaluation to collect and analyze information should be described in enough detail to enable replication. Less innovative curricula or programs may require evidence of generalizability. For example, evaluation across multiple sites and reporting of high-level outcomes demonstrating transfer or application of learning and long-term effect of the intervention to be published. Although not an educational research project, educators who plan to disseminate outcomes of the curriculum or program evaluation still need an institutional review board to determine appropriate requirements, for example, review, approve, or exempt for each project. An explicit description of the review and consent process, if applicable, must be included in the scholarship resulting from the work. The evaluation findings should be presented in sufficient detail to support the inferences and or themes discussed. Tables, graphs, and figures should be used judiciously to illustrate the main points in the context. In the discussion, after clearly stating the key findings, placed findings in the context of relevant literature, including literature related to the conceptual framework underlying the teaching and evaluation strategies used. Use the literature as a basis to demonstrate how the framework has been shown to explain how learning happens and thereby support why the outcomes used in the evaluation were achieved. Since this is an evaluation manuscript, it would also be useful to explicitly state how the evaluation information that was gathered was used or will be used to improve future iterations of your curriculum or program. Discuss the limitations as well as the strengths of the curriculum or program and evaluation and feasibility issues, including the resources needed to implement, sustain, and evaluate the curriculum or program. And consider concluding with the practical significance of the curriculum or educational program to address an emerging need in medical education or healthcare delivery, lessons learned from the implementation and evaluation of the curriculum or program, and offer guidance for future work in this area. Summary. So some key points, systematic evaluation includes planning evaluation in synchrony with curriculum or program design. Incorporating a conceptual framework provides a lens to guide the choice of educational strategies and define outcomes. Evaluation strategies should reflect the goals of the curriculum or program and the needs of the stakeholders. Evaluation of the curriculum or program should be designed to determine what was effective and seek to eliminate how the outcomes are achieved and why the curriculum or program was effective. Including sufficient detail in manuscripts describing the curriculum or program, evaluation methods, and tools and findings will allow others to assess the effectiveness and potentially replicate, adapt the curriculum or program and evaluation strategy. Specifying feasibility, strengths, and limitations, and highlighting the practical significance of the work will help others understand the broader implications for health professions and education. Checklist for authors. So this is the checklist for authors for use prior to submission of curriculum or program evaluation manuscripts. The title and abstract. Title should be clear and representative of content. Abstract should be concise and describe Curriculum or program evaluation strategies and key findings. Conclusions in the abstract should be justified, giving information provided in the abstract. All information provided in the abstract should be present in the text. All information in abstract, text, figures, tables are consistent. And the introduction methods for the quantitative evaluation, the project should be generalizable due to selection of participants, settings, and educational intervention materials. For qualitative evaluation, evaluation should consider transferability of findings to other settings. Evaluation should incorporate techniques to ensure trustworthiness. Characteristics of the evaluators that may influence the evaluation should be described and accounted for during data collection and analysis, and members of the evaluation team's contribution to coding, identifying themes, and or drawing inferences, dependability, and confirmability should be described. For a discussion, the key findings should be clearly stated. Conclusions follow from the design, methods, and results. Findings should be placed in context of relevant literature, including conceptual framework. Alternative interpretations of findings should be considered as needed. Limitations and strengths of the curriculum or program and evaluation should be discussed. Practical significance or implications for health sciences education should be discussed, and guidance for future studies should be offered. Program feasibility, sustainability, and stakeholder input should be discussed. References, literature review should be comprehensive, relevant, and up to date, and ideas and materials of others should be appropriately attributed, no plagiarism. Final journal check. Content, you have to check the content is relevant to mission of the journal or journal audience. Author guidelines should be followed, including the word count. Prior publications by authors of substantial portions of the data should be appropriately acknowledged. Conflict of interest should be disclosed. Text should be well written and easy to follow, and manuscript should be well organized. So this is the GREET checklist, guideline for reporting evidence-based practice, educational interventions, and teaching. This is from the Equator Network. The GREET checklist is based on the TIDIA guidance, and it includes the brief name of the intervention, why the educational process should be used, what materials are utilized, who provided the instructions, what was the mode of delivery, where was the physical learning space, when and how much, the schedule and the number of times the learners spend in face-to-face contact with instructors, planned changes, unplanned changes, and how well the learners' attendance was. Way forward, learning to learn. The approaches of curriculum leadership are to be brought into a global focus, providing for greater understanding of the evaluation process. To that end, a comprehensive process that can be used to evaluate a field of study as well as technological applications may be proposed. In addition, challenges to curriculum leadership should be addressed. This is the reference for the checklist. Thank you very much.
Very nice, Dr. Amisha. Very good presentation. And the most important part is that you have given a very good feedback and checklist. That is again a type of a feedback, and that is called effective feedback. Because when we are have enlisted and we have to check it, it is the type of the feedback that is effective. It is a very good article and it has been beautifully presented. Now I would like the other participants and scholars who have participated to please comment on this. I would start with Dr. Bar and then Dr. Khansa, and the rest of everyone can participate. So first to Dr. Khansa and then Dr.
Assalamu alaikum, madam. Assalamu alaikum. Madam, according to my opinion, the article is very good and illustrative. Dr. Amshar explained is very well. Describe both the curriculum types, different approaches used to curriculum development. As we know that it is some sort of evaluation article and not the primary data collection method or article in which there is mentioning of introduction methodology. Therefore, it is an evaluation article which can evaluate the various aspects of curriculum development models. First of all, according to my critical appraisal of this article clearly stated the aims and objectives. Innovation is very they considered innovation being considered, and it is their search is relevant to our field, mostly medical education, which is very emerging field today, and it explains the contributes the understanding of such, and it addresses the conceptual framework and the most important strength of this article is that they explain very beautifully curriculum development according to various conceptual frameworks, and also considered the various models. Most important, they consider the models of 6 steps of curriculum development, and clearly state the objectives. Their best strength is that they define the stakeholder analysis approach and clearly describe the stakeholders, which is very important in any policy development. And they considered the values, beliefs, and behavior also in Kirkpatrick models, which is also very important. They also provide the feasibility implementation plan. And also, best thing is that they provide the checklist for publishing the curriculum very nicely according to major introduction. In every section, they beautifully explained every step should be fulfilled for publishing the checklist. And they also target the approach of how, when, and what approach. But the weakness, according to my, is that there is although this touch the stakeholder analysis, but it is not described in detail. There is quality issues in the curriculum development is not addressed. They not address the ethical issues, various ethical issues which may arise. Uh, Context specific problems in the curriculum development is not addressed, but they try to touch the behavior. They describe the costs and time is not addressed. Data collection methods are described, various qualitative and quantitative, but their pros and cons were not discussed. These are 4 to my 3 points. The content plan, detailed stakeholder analysis, political will, and policy implications, and pros and cons of qualitative and quantitative data.
Okay, thank you very
Quantitative
much.
check, this is not. These are a few
Thank
weaknesses
you
of
very
this
much,
article.
Dr. Hansa. Very nice, effective feedback. Now I would like Dr. Amber, but before I reiterate that Dr. Hansa has said that the strongest point is the checklist that they have given. And another important thing was the new world Kirkpatrick that has been mentioned in this. And as we know that we are having participants' reaction, that is one of a very important feedback. And then we try to change the knowledge, skill, and attitude. And the most important after this is we are changing behaviors. And that is the longest and the toughest part because that would ensure the transfer of proper learning. And we have to return to the most important part, that is the mission statement. And if there is a mission statement, then all the learning and everything that goes very well. If the mission statement is not right, then the things may not go in a right direction. So we would move to Dr. Amber for further comments on this article.
Assalamualaikum, ma'am. Ma'am, it's very informative and Dr. Ramsa has brilliantly presented it. I would like to add a few points after your suggestions that this was a good article in respect that we always studies the types evaluation like process, outcome, impact, summation, formative evaluations. But this adds on to the information and it gives us the models as you have already mentioned, the new one, the new Kirkpatrick's model, and we can develop the frameworks. We can use this information, this scholarly information, and we can develop tools and kits, and we can also apply these in our settings on the basis of why, how, what, and why the programs should be developed, and how we should develop these programs in our settings, and how the feedback is important, and how the programs based on the evaluation affects and the knowledge, attitudes, and feedbacks of the students. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Now this house is open for anyone who wants to add anything or want to share their suggestions. Okay, thank you very much. Very nicely done, Dr. Ramsha. We are very proud of you. Very well elaborated by Dr. Khansa and Dr. Amber. Very well done. Thank you very much. See you next time. Allah Hafiz.
Thank you, ma'am. Allah
Allah
Hafiz.
Hafiz.
Hafiz, ma'am.